Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me.
You know what? I talked to your man.
Like my coffee, extra mad and bitter. And then their lawyer all like you, so yeah, the man's a quitter. He's strapped face up behind the platinum grill. My style faceless, just pick these mic skills. And in the street killer, I will not be denied. That I'm mic'd up, I raise my head with pride. A force of nature cruising the whip, doing walk-bys on your boulevard. Face my verbal clip. In this land of live streams, baby, I'm on the road. Got my feet on the media, scraping them up my soles. It's that umbrella guy facing the accusers. Cleated out size 14s, crushing all those losers. It's that umbrella guy, they said we couldn't make it. Never ask permission, just sense our goal and take it. The media buzzwords, they will never save you. Listen and believe it's meant to enslave you. Challenging the hypocrites, and baby, I'm on fire. They flash titles like they're royalty, but it's true that I'm a journalist. Scribble nursey rhymes, one in this grill in the basket, with a tisket and a tasket, and their morals in a casket. No morals in a casket. They're always pushing make-believe and weaving straw to gold, but I'm sick of all the fairy tales and buying what I'm sold. Strolling into the backyard, taking truth on tour, baby, there is sickness, and that umbrella guy's got the cure. Look, it's that umbrella guy knocking at the door. No more ministry of truth than the plot of 1984. They're dumping all my verbal clips. The case is filled with knowledge. They're on the mic like kindergarten, and I'm taking them to college. Why the mask, baby? Cause this has to be a crime. I'll take the mic and boom, there in the chalk outline. I used to throw elbows, but now I'm dropping nukes. You wrote another hit piece, isn't that cute? And the worst part, they'll never learn it before the stakes start channeling, crash and burn. They pretend that we need to get their permission. That umbrella guy crushing their ambitions. You're not my competition, it's that umbrella. It's that umbrella guy steamrolling them out for fun. Mic check, mic wreck, paging this army of one. There's no hesitation, no doubt, not even a scintilla. The Tokyo baby and me, I'm Godzilla. Crushing them like Godzilla, like Godzilla.
What's up, folks? How's it going today? Welcome to another edition of, oh man, the crazy never ends, starring some really crazy people. I swear, man, every day I'm like, you know what? There's not gonna be anything crazy to talk about, and I'm always wrong. These folks are never a disappointment, though. I mean, seriously, it's like they never learn from anything. It's kind of fascinating. I do think it's fascinating too. So today, when I'm going to talk about a few things. So number one, I'm going to talk about the fact that the lawyer, Mr. I've got medical problems. I can't be sanctioned, man. I can't be sanctioned. Yeah, he's not off the hook. We're going to talk about the new stuff with that. We will talk about the judge's order with Marla, because we must be completionist. So we will talk about that too. I changed my avatar just then. That looks pretty good, by the way. And we're going to talk about Shara actually today. Shara, there's some stuff I want to cover tomorrow too with Shara. She's been on a posting role, by the way, and it's been funny. But there was one thing I wanted to cover before I covered her giant calling out session, and she has been on that, by the way. I mean, look at this. I didn't even realize it was happening again. Look how much. It's crazy. But that will probably be tomorrow, because there's a lot of it. That's a lot to go through. It may, you may be like, there's like 10 or 11 things there. Yes, some of them are very long. So it'll take a minute to go through. She did have a moment though where she called out some, well, let's say that she called out not just BBB, but she called out 2L and really the whole ecosystem and the whole, man, I'm being harassed narrative. I thought that was pretty funny. She put that on blast. So we'll go over that too. So much good stuff. By the way, appreciate all you folks being here. Man, I thought that was funny, by the way, Thomas. It sounded like something Pope Tug needed to hear. Let's check this out, by the way. So I've been playing with the AI engine, seeing what it can create. It creates some creepy stuff sometimes. Like I was like, here, let's make a horror thing. And again, I gave it no instruction, just to be honest. All right. But check this stuff out real fast. So this is ChatGPT, by the way. All right. Not Grok, it's ChatGPT. Look at some of these creepy things it made. It's like, you can't scare me. It's like, why? Did another one, do your worst, demon. And it's like, oh. He's like, not bad. Why? I don't know. Again, no guidance at all. That's just what it did on its own. And let's see, give me a second here. Oh yeah, and it did a cartoon version of the do your best demon too. It didn't look as creepy though. It looked like Roger Rabbit-esque. It's like, do your worst, demon. It's like, ooh, all right. He's like, not bad. Again, I was just like, make a funny cartoon, using this image. And that's what it decided that I needed in my life, which I kind of did think that was funny. Then we have, let's see, I'm making sure there's nothing here I don't need to pull up. Okay. Yeah, here, check it out. Some of these are very strange. Give me 1 minute. Let me lock this over. You'll mess it up otherwise. You have the, hey, look, blind rapper. Blind rapper, but with a mouth. Like, okay. Then it decided, hey, you need holes for mouth and eyes. I was like, all right. Then it decided to do it in a little color. It decided to give me a wrestler. I was like, all right. It gave me drowning in content with sharks. So at least there's sharks in there now. I mentioned this yesterday, but it decided, there's 2 yellow eye holes in that picture. And instead of giving the eye holes, it put a yellow strip down at the bottom for some reason. It made Pope That Umbrella Guy. That's what I was thinking about there. It made some weird, look at this weird wall art. Look at it. I'm feeling gray. It for some reason that looks like blackface. I was like, wait a minute. Then it made a pimp. I noticed that he seemed a little not white. So I was like, wait a minute. I didn't say that. It was funny when AI is kind of racist. It's like, draw me a pimp. It's like, okay, here's a black guy. It's like, no, that's not what I said. Oh, my Lord. Judge falling into the rabbit hole, fighting. And that's about it for right this moment. But it's kind of funny. It's been a lot of fun to mess with. It makes some really weird stuff. But when your where art thou tongue, deny BBB and refute polyflop for the crap it is. That sounds like a little sermon that needs to be said, just to say. So that's what it made me think of. Oh my God. Why do I always pound my mouse? Well, that sounds very bad. But actually, the if you do hear the mouse on my keyboard for real, it's because it has a clicker in it, so it doesn't actually, just like the keyboard. The keyboard's noisy. It's not a quiet mouse. It's funny though. Yeah, pound it. Yeah, I smack it around. It sounds kind of dirty. All right, let's look at some stuff today. Let's see. What do we want to look at first? Let's look at let's look at no, I don't want to look at Marla first. Let's look at the stuff with Stark first. Okay. That sounds good. We'll do that one first. The lawyer headline. Okay. So let's do that one. Here we go. It took me a minute. I was like, well, there's 4 things here. Actually, let me show you something really funny first. So I was telling you the other day that I thought it was kind of strange, but BBB actually had to pay 2L to do his to read his document. Isn't that strange? And I pulled a few more screenshots with that. Okay, so I thought I'd pull those up too. But what's going on when you have to pay, like BBB? He had to pay them $50 to go over 123. 123 is not a new document. Let me get the exact date on that. Actually, give me 1 second. I'll pull it. I mean, we were talking about a document where they love the victim narrative, especially for BBB. But they didn't read his whiny, whingy document until he paid them to. I thought that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I thought that was kind of telling, He's like, here's $50, please read it. And then he sits in chat and plays director the whole time, telling them exactly what they have to do and where to go, which is funny. I mean, 123 is a mess. Like if they were actually being honest about it, they would they'd admit that. That's probably why they didn't want to read the damn thing, because it is a messy document, and it is freaking embarrassing, to be honest. It's, again, BBB should very well know, outside of the idea that it pulls a potential reversible error. You never want to do that, by the way. The reason I drill that idea is because you never, as a lawyer, want to go in and create a problem so big that an appeals court could be like, yeah, that right there, that could be a potential problem, a big one. Let me see, I'm going to Sprite here. So, a sugar-free Sprite, by the way. Just a note. Man, this weather is killing me. But you never want to create any type of reversible error, no matter what. Now, in this, he does a lot of things that he should not do. For example, like check this out. The auxiliary document is a really bad one, and it's become, I guess, even more fascinating as we move forward. This was pulled up 4-1. So we're talking weeks after the fact. He was finally like, here, let me spend money, please record it. But this was the document. If you don't remember it, by the way, this is when he told the magistrate, I'm not going to show up because I'm afraid you're going to arrest me. That was the document. He had to pay them to read it. This document, though, there's actually some wild stuff in it. Going back and looking at it, his newest documents, this document specifically it's a crazy one, but later documents, they run you into some real weird issues. This document, though, it is strange because he brings up, now we've talked about other stuff that he brought up in it, in the 123-1 exhibit. But what we didn't talk about, because we hadn't focused on it that much, but now we are focusing on it, is him bringing up federal lawsuit 2. He's trying to litigate, talk about the merits of another lawsuit that have nothing to do with this. He did this not only with this one, he brought in Ohio and everything else, but which allows you, this is an interesting problem too, that he left Lynette Preston with as well. Because in federal case 1, there was really no reason that Jeremy Hales had to bring in all of the conspiracy and the insanity, everything that the ecosystem had done. You could argue that it was inappropriate to bring into that lawsuit, right? Well, when somebody opens the door for it, they make it appropriate. You're allowed to answer that. So Bruce, on his way out the door, he didn't just open the door a little bit to talk about everything that happened with the ecosystem. He threw the doors open wide. But it's crazy, too, because he starts again. He's been trying to litigate anything that's there. And this stuff is inappropriate as hell. Like, this is a filing that shouldn't even exist. It gets even worse, though, in later filings. And I've talked about this before, talking about the inappropriate to the level that's appealable. Because Bruce begins litigating in the, why shouldn't I sanction you? He begins to litigate an entire case. The ecosystem has set out there and said, they've bragged about this. They actually bragged that this was some master plan. He could get the last word in and maybe tank the case. But that's a real problem. Because Randy, like I said, he couldn't answer that. But this is what he had to pay for, which is fascinating. I don't think they even read his little add-on. And even if they did, they don't understand it. Like, they don't understand that he opened the door to the Ohio protective order being brought up. He's done that multiple times. You want to go with the least damaging way forward. I don't want to bring up things like the Ohio protective order, so the other side doesn't bring it up and say, yeah, you know what? Mr. Hales, he videotapes all the time because he's in fear of his safety to the point that he can't even go out and do things. And you know what? A court has agreed with him 3 times so far. They've agreed with him that, yes, violation, gave it to him, then violated and violated again. So you never open those doors. I mean, it's dumb, but they don't bring things like that up. It amazes me. But I got some other screenshots from that too. I mean, again, look at all the little, here we go. Give me a second. The little drones. Like, oh yeah, let's comment on it. Can we hear 1, 2, 3? But you see, he brings up things too. Like, he says that it would be in MP and JC's interest to get to trial. What? When, who said that? The judge? When did he say that? Did he say that in any order? Have you seen an order that said anything about the judge saying, hey, it was in their interest to actually go to trial? Have you seen that mentioned at all? Strange, isn't it? Same one. Oh man, look. There's old LP in the chat again. Look, oh, they're in the chat again. Gotta love it, man. I love the fact. Oh, there's, look too. This is funny. So look, look at those pretty rocks. Oh my God. Here's Marla down here. Marla's like, I'd like to buy those rocks, but I gotta get an attorney. Oh, Marla. I don't even understand how you're involved in this, Marla. I really don't. I don't get it. We will talk about Marla in a few minutes too, because default judgment. like I said, from the beginning, the huge win in Hale's getting a default. When that was brought up, all these people were snapped to attention. And you still have 2Ls bragging about how they haven't been served yet. By the way, they're just bragging and bragging. Well, they think. What do they think that means? Do they think the court can't be like, okay, like he can approach the court and say, hey, these people, they're avoiding this. They're avoiding being served. And they are. They brag about it online. There's transcripts of them. There's video of them bragging. You don't think the judge is going to make that happen?
Look,
Oh, man, where'd you get that cute dress?
it was in my closet.
I love it.
It has a cross for Jesus.
I like it. Yeah, it's a big old cross on it at the front. It's very cute.
And look, it's shorts.
Listen to her, poor little one with the weather changing. She's all stuffy and snotty, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed being snotty and stuffy? Is it fun?
No, it's not fun.
Not fun at all.
Sissy does that too.
Yeah, she's snotty too. I know. It's with the weather change. I got a headache myself today. From the weather change.
Hey, look, a short sleeve.
Yeah, you got short sleeve. She found her a nice dress.
It
She
has-
likes to she picks out her own outfits. Yeah, she is very
I changed my
obstinate about
pants.
it. Yes, you changed your pants too. They're very nice. I like it. You picked it out. That's a good color. Hey, if you don't get that messy, you should wear that to Gigi's tomorrow. That's
Okay.
very cute together. But if you get anything on it, it'll mess it up. You should wear that to Gigi's though. It's very cute.
Yeah, I can watch TV because that's all I do every single day. Talk about nighttime.
Yeah.
I stay up all night.
I know you stay up as long as you can.
I
know
can
that.
stay up all night and
No,
all
you
day.
cannot stay up all night and all day. You have to sleep sometime, don't you?
Yeah, I went to sleep last night and I went to sleep other nights and
I know. Like in the middle of the night, I fell asleep and then I hear banging around. And what was going on? What were you guys doing upstairs?
I was not making cupcakes. Sissy was making cupcakes. I just
He was
wanted
making
to watch.
cupcakes in the middle of the night, late.
And I was just watching her make
Yeah.
sure her didn't fall or get hurt.
Oh,
or
is
get-
that what you were doing?
And make sure it doesn't get any shake on her shorts so it doesn't wear her shorts for judges.
Did you hear that?
tomorrow.
She was like, I wasn't baking any. I was watching Sissy, so she didn't fall or get hurt. I got you. Look at that. You say thank you, Andre.
Thank you.
Said, oh, there's some candy money. Woo, candy money. Hey, look.
For
Can you
the
say,
bowl. I want to do a Murfreesboro bowl together.
we're not
me
going to
and Dad.
Murfreesboro tomorrow. Oh, yeah, we'll go another day, me and you for sure. There's Janice. Can you say thank you?
Thank you.
Said, oh, this is for crafts for you and Big Sissy. Crafts. Oh, my goodness. Do you like crafts?
Yes.
You do.
I tried to make crafts good, but sometimes I don't do it right. But I made a perfect craft one
You-
time.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got, practice makes perfect, right? You made those, you made these rocks you painted. Those are cute, right?
That's probably than Michael.
Yeah. You painted those up, though.
Yeah,
And,
like I made a rainbow.
But that's a craft still. Doesn't matter how you made it, and you've been making those puffy sticker paintings or the pictures, the ones you put on the refrigerator. Those
Yeah.
are cute, huh?
I made a heart one too.
Yeah, a heart one too. I know. See, that's cute. All right. Well, hey, you need to go
I'll
upstairs
go
though, so I
make
can.
more.
Yeah, well, you can make more. Go make something now, but you should rest because you need to get that out of your system. Drink plenty of water and rest.
Rest is best.
Yes, rest is best, but you're not resting, are you?
It's not even nighttime.
I know, but you rest when you're not feeling good. You let your body heal and catch up, So go rest.
I love you.
I love you too. Go get you some rest, okay? Yeah, come here, give me a hug. Give me the hug.
I like
I'll take that hug.
candy because I like fruit and candy.
You do. Okay.
buddy.
All right.
That's
go
right
upstairs.
for you or me.
Well, the next time we go to candy shop when you're feeling better, then I'll set aside some money for you, okay? Me and you. Last night was funny. So I was I woke up late and I needed something from the gas station. I needed a freaking drink, like a regular drink, not a like an alcoholic drink. I actually do not drink like that, but I need to go to the gas station, and the little one is like, "Hey, let me go with you, Dad. Let me go." So I let her go along. Just me and her running around at night. She was thrilled by that. She likes to run around in the middle of the night. Anything to stay out of bed. All right, let me fire this back up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, old Marla, though. Like I said, Marla talking about needing attorneys. Marla's excuse for the court was quite fascinating, too. Now, the judge, if they respond, of course, they typically don't want you to default win. Now, having said that, it's amazing. Like, these people sit around and they mock the entire process. They mock the courts. They mock the fucking judge. But hey, what does that matter, right? You can see, though, Bruce, look, he's like, oh my God, look, I'm you've got to read these lines. Read it. I love it. I love the fact that he bosses them around. Now that he's, that he's not on the case. Again, anybody, including AI, could have told them how to deal with a default judgment. Honestly, I wouldn't want to bring it up, but if you did a search, just like a basic search, it would tell them what they needed to do there. And even then, they did a terrible job of it, honestly. This judge has been pretty nice to them about stuff, because he didn't have to allow that to be set aside, especially when they don't have a very convincing or compelling argument. Interestingly, also, just to note this too, did you realize that when you mail something, that the date of mailing doesn't matter? It's the date of reception by the court. I was watching this thing a while back. I mean, it gets confirmed again and again. But in Tennessee, for example, there was a guy who decided to sue the state. He decided to wait until the day before the 1 year mark. He mailed it in. You have a 1 year to sue. He mailed it in, and it was turned down because of the time limit. It turned out you have to have your documents in to the court, not put in the mail. They don't count it when it's in the mail. He appealed that. And guess what? Got kicked aside. So just to note that, FYI, that's for anybody out there, by the way, because we're going to see a little bit of the dog ate my homework kind of excuses. But yeah, look, here's Bruce too. Read the next 2 lines. Read them. I love that he bosses them around. Like like he is in charge. I guess he is too. I mean, honestly, they're just his little peons. He treats them like it doesn't. He treats all these ecosystem losers like they are. If you ever need any proof of that, you can see it. Now, with them having as much access as he does to most of the documentation now for federal case number 2, and him not having access really going forward, he will have access for a hot minute to federal case number 1, but with him being off federal case number 1, he doesn't have inside baseball for them like that. Now, he's probably promised them inside access where he's going to go in and bring his monster lawsuit against everybody. But that's neither here nor there. But I found this interesting. There's more of this kind of stuff too. Oh my God, read it, please read it. These guys, they're such fucking losers. I would not take kindly to somebody sitting around telling me what I had to do. Now, speaking of Marla, by the way, Marla decided, I couldn't respond in a timely fashion to federal case 1, but finally did respond. Again, you notice how all these people, they suddenly found a way to respond. Isn't that amazing? I thought none of them were. I thought it was all a joke. Like I said, I thought it was all a game. Again, I keep making this point. It doesn't matter if you think that the claims are meritorious or not. You can think the claims are absolute garbage in a case. You still have to respond to it. You don't just get to ignore it and it go away. Because if you ignore it, you will end up with a default judgment. We kept saying that and saying that shit. They kept ignoring it. They kept trying to pretend they weren't going to get hit. Guess what happened? They got hit. They ended up with the default judgment entered, which was hilarious because they were talking about suddenly over $500,000 for each one of them, and suddenly it became real. Suddenly it was like, please, judge, please. But I love this particular one. He's like, what in the what now? Here's Marla's excuse that's on file. And I cut this off because, Marla, don't write on the document, okay? When you file it, don't write your fucking address on the document in crayon or whatever the hell you wrote in. Oh, my God, dude. Like across the, it's got an address written on. I'm assuming that's your address. I don't know, but it's filed publicly like that, So don't write things like that on there. Like don't put them on your, on your Etch-a-Sketch or whatever. Don't try to draw them in. That's not smart. Just try not to do that. Again, I don't know the addresses on that, but this one did. It had a handwritten address attached to it. Oh my God. Oh, Lord. Now, again, the judge does grant default, set aside. That's not surprising. But I thought they were all going to ignore it. See, that's the crazy thing. I thought there was nothing to this whatsoever. They were just going to sit on their hands and ignore the subpoenas. If they finally caught them, they just laugh it off. Huh. Didn't happen, did it? Didn't work that way. Just fascinates me. Like I see these idiots over and over again. They brag about it. I don't know all of the Marla stuff. I've seen some more though. Actually, I did see something fascinating. Oh, I forgot about this. Give me a second. I think I uploaded something. Give me. Let me look real quick. I think I uploaded this in my Dropbox. I've been reorganizing all of the screenshots and stuff. I've been getting them ready to upload. Yeah, there's Marla. Marla, there you are. I did download this. I did find where Marla, I was curious about some of the things Marla had tried to do. And one of the things Marla tried to do was flag Jeremy Hale's videos down publicly, contacting YouTube publicly. Now, what'll be fascinating is somebody should reach out to YouTube. Talking about a lawyer, not you, not me. We are not, it's not our lawsuit. We don't do that, okay? Just to make that clear. I'm talking about somebody that's involved in the litigation. One of them should reach out and talk to YouTube and see what all is there too, Because these idiots, they've been flagging and flagging and flagging some more. And where does it stop? Well, they tried to take his channel down. So check this out. Again, this is Marla with LP. We know they were coordinating behind the scenes doing some of their crazy shit. So isn't that fascinating? They also had somebody apparently try to call them out from what I can see with this, from this screenshot. So check this out. This must be a Twitter. I actually thought this was on Facebook, but I guess Twitter. I didn't really look. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Everybody else has been using freaking Facebook. This is Twitter. You can see from the layout, obviously, but you can also see because of this little thing. Okay, if you don't use Twitter, you see this little thing right here? This means they're hiding people's comments. Like people are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. Hey, why are you lying to YouTube? What are you doing? But they were like, hey, YouTube, here's the channel. Look, no video. It's the channel itself. So they take aim at it and they're like, a YouTube creator is posting fake screenshots to attack one of his neighbors. It's ongoing barrage that YouTube is allowed to go on for years now. The reporting system is geared so a report would make the fake seem real. How do we fix this? Hey, YouTube, how do we get this flagged? And guess what? Of course, you have a YouTube response. Actually, let's see. I think these are out of order. Give me a second. No, let me make sure. I can't remember if that one's out of order. I don't know. I don't care that bad. No, I guess that's right. So they're asked to confirm. YouTube is like, have you tried reporting the channel for review? So again, here's them trying to take down the channel straight up. As part of the ecosystem bullshit, they prove right outside 100% that they have been false flagging the channel. So when they say that they don't, when they lie about that, because all the ecosystem lies about that shit, well, wouldn't you know, there is proof that they've done that before. How fascinating, right? And they've been doing it for years. That's right, years. Bruce confirmed that they've tried to take down the channel too. Remember when he wrote that letter about Veteran Nation? Back when it said that, again, paraphrasing, that they had tried to take that YouTube was very familiar with the channel. AKA, they've been reporting it. And they've been going to extraordinary lengths. But YouTube is like, not that we rely on YouTube community members, note rather that we rely on community members to report content they find inappropriate. After you flag the videos, they promptly review to see if they violate our policies. Yes, said. Yes, I and others have been doing it. We have been personally attacked by the channel as well as the loyal followers in person and online. In person? We have been attacked in person? What the what now? What kind of lies are these? We have been attacked. Are you kidding me? What a bunch of crack-headed nonsense. I saw the dumbest argument today, by the way. They said, if Jeremy Hales can sue these people out here, then shouldn't Otter Creek sue him? Because, he said he called a place full of drug addicts. Are you kidding me? Are you really think you can sue over that? Oh my God. That's like me saying there's a bunch of crackheads, that stream on YouTube. That doesn't mean everyone's a crackhead. It's so ridiculous. Oh my God. People don't understand the basics of lawsuits. But reported it. There's currently several cases in Ohio and Florida revolving around the channel and its creator. Then we have, speaking of that, by the way, look who gets involved down here. Look. So speaking of cases, right? Isn't that fascinating? You got Lynette Preston down there talking about, by the way. So they tell them how to report, here, got a report history. You can check on that. So to go nowhere as usual. So telling you as usual, that means they've flagged it multiple times. These statements mean that when you see it, even though they're talking about it once, they've tried it many times. You just build this and you can show conspiracy. Again, this is part of building the idea that there's a conspiracy of these people. You see them behind the scenes. We saw them in some of the Shara screenshots. In fact, with Marla, give me a minute here. Marla, where are you? Actually, it's in a Shara. one. I saved it at the end. Marla links herself to all these people by saying things like this. When she was going after Shara, which I'll show you with some of the Shara stuff in a minute, she says things like, this is their answer to evidence, by the way. Why don't they have any evidence anymore? Have you ever wondered that when they're talking about this and they say they have all this proof about Jeremy Hales? You ever wonder how they spin not having it? Well, this is how they do it. We had a Google Drive full of research. They had a whole entire Google Drive. But when she, meaning Shara, flipped, we deleted everything. What? Wait, what? Because she had access to it. We were afraid she would misuse our research. Why, what? Well, first of all, it's nice that you admit that you did all of this stuff. You knew there was litigation potentially coming, and you deleted all of this insanity. But it's also nice that you documented that you and others were sitting behind the scenes, plotting, having this so you could damage Jeremy Hales, and that the quote-unquote research you did, it could be quote-unquote misused. That means that, truth isn't something that you can just go in and spin the reality of. They can deny it. They can say, oh, those signs don't belong to blah, blah, blah. Or this actually isn't there. But when you look at what Jeremy Hales has, for example, he's shown you quite a bit. I mean, the reality, no matter how they try to spin it, reality is Ohio Protective Order is real. Violations are real. I mean, you have things like that. They're concrete. They're like, well, we did all this research, but we had to delete it because those Shara was... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm having to, where are they so dumb? Well, I don't know, Kitty. I don't know. Kitty Kate. I can't say. How much actual research did Marla do? That is a very good question. We've seen some of the strange fallout stuff that was a screenshot when Shara left, right? And one of the things that I found fascinating in this stuff where Shara left was, at least this is my interpretation of some of those screenshots, okay? Marla and others seem to be like, just like Shara, they seem to be like, we need to get out of here. Like these people are abusive. They're terrible. They treat us like garbage. And even though, you still have some of them that for some reason they stick around. I don't know why. Like I said, I get the 2L thing. I do, Again, they'll get sued over this, but I get it. I mean, they're making more money than they've ever made before. I get why they're doing it. I get it. I see them doing it. I get it. I'm not approving it. If they wanted to cover this, if they covered it, they could make money. They could. If they went in and covered without making up, crazy shit like Jeremy Hales, blah, blah kid, Jeremy Hales, blah, blah dogs, without doing all that, they could still go in and cover it. They had access to Bruce. They're at the top of the heap. They have access to Lynette Preston. They have access to John Cook. So they could have covered it, and they could 100% have done that. Now, Jeremy Hales may not like their channel with that, but it wouldn't have been defamatory. It wouldn't have been, statements of fact. They could also even argue, and this would have been a fascinating thing, and they've already done so many live streams. I feel like I can say this now because fuck them. They never covered documents. They admitted early on that they didn't watch the court cases that they were commenting on. They never looked at anything with it, They never watched the footage. They never saw half the stuff. So they were making accusations on stuff that was meritless. It reminds me of Ray Bone Crusher. Only Ray Bone Crusher does it for free. Actually, I don't know. Ray Bone Crusher does it so maybe 100 people will do this. Bravo, Ray. Bravo. But anyway, so I thought I would show you that one. Let me pull back up the YouTube thing, and then we'll get back to the court part. Okay. 1 second. So continuing with the YouTube, again, they also don't understand this. They're chatting with a bot. They're not chatting with, this is not a human. Okay. YouTube is not talking to you. Marla, you're not talking to a human. Okay. Let me just put it that way. So going nowhere as usual. Of course, he brings YouTube lots of money. So he has to be, so he can be free to destroy lives as he wants, right? I can bring the people he's destroying to introduce you to them if you like or not. Same result. Again, she probably flagged in, you know. She's like, I'll bring, this is a bot. Like I said, YouTube does not have human beings that come in and answer this. YouTube uses call centers with people that a lot of them do not speak English. I'm not saying that as a shot at people. They have 2 call centers that are in the United States that are utilized for specific endeavors. You know, they have one in Texas, and I can't remember where the other one was. A lot of their, oh yeah, they have the California center. My bad. But they also have a headquarters there. So I think it's attached to headquarters now. I don't know, but regardless, a lot of that's not about customer complaints. That's about policy policing, you know. But anyway, it's like we take that very seriously. The team works hard to action, to content. We're made aware. Appreciate your patience as we look closer. She's like, oh man, I can DM you his channel and name if you wish. Again, she's going further than just reporting. She's like, oh, you know what I can do? I can also, again, she's doing this. It's fucking public. Like, what's amazing is she's like, these people are cultish. I'm not exaggerating. Well, look at what they do. I mean, she talks herself into litigation, which is amazingly crazy. And I don't even understand. Again, I don't even understand how she got there. Like what is the? Did he hurt the feels? Is that what happened? Because a few of these people, they're there because Jeremy Hale hurt their fifis. That's the only reason they're there. You know, he rubbed a little dirt on their fifis, and they're like, "Oh my God, YouTube!" You know. But it's a very serious matter. It's not just online. Most of the problem is now occurring offline. Broadcast by his channel for the approval of those who believe in him in a cultish fashion. I'm not exaggerating. Occurring offline. Again, he ended up getting a protective order against the people who were jumping in, you know, and soon Florida has a law specifically for these cases. Then you have LP. I'm being cyberbullied, stalked, slandered, bullied, harassed. He does it on videos, uses my name, likeness. My kid lies and lies about me in my tiny town. He's hurting me for the YouTube's monies. By the way, I'm gonna have to look all these people up on the Twitters. I didn't realize they were on the Twitters. That, by the way, is a place that we can throw elbows verbally. I noticed, Darth Touch and Paint Chips over there. But I mean, they're losers. I mean, honestly, I think it's funnier to make them sit over by themselves dealing with a few trolls. I think that's funny. Like me interacting with them, no way. Those losers, man. They get nothing from me. But other people, it depends. Maybe I say hi. It's so funny though. See, they confuse the idea of you too. If you point out the fact that they have done any wrongdoing. That's apparently a bridge too far. Okay, so Marla, going back to her writing for the judge, and the judge, again, does set aside the default for them, but this is Marla's letter. I swear it looks like the dog ate my homework. Look at that. Pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 55C. Oh, bravo. People were like, Bruce told them that. You know what? I hope you guys aren't that dumb that you had to have Bruce tell you that. You know why? You could have just looked it up online. You could have looked up Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 55. Very simple. Like I said, and I keep saying that, it was about this. No help. Not helping them figure out what to do. We still got Bruce. Man, if this is all Bruce can do for you, you're in a bad way. That's all I'm saying, you know? I mean, holy crap. But Marla Hughes moves to set aside the default and asks for 21 days from when the plaintiff files an amended complaint under the instructions of the court. That is, by the way, Bruce. That is 100% Bruce that told them to note that, because that is the talking point that Bruce used. So that is 100% Bruce. By the way, Bruce, like I said, where you been booted off this, you get caught fucking around in these cases. I don't know if the judge is going to be happy with you being there. I mean, again, you are a litigant and stuff, but you get caught messing around. And that's not legal advice. That is, I mean, Bruce ignores good advice anyway, honestly. You know, hey, Bruce, you should stop that. Maybe you'll get in trouble. Hey, Bruce, you should stop that. Maybe you get in trouble. See, you actually see this brought up in the decision because Bruce asked for it. Say, if you wonder, you're like, hey, how do we tell that this is a talking point coming from Bruce? Oh, right. Well, you see it reflected. You see it in his filing, but you also, you can see it in the judge's decision when I gave it to Bruce. I mean, it is the exact same. It's not asking for 21 days. It's 21 days after filing. See, look at this. It's right here. Notice that. Granted, plaintiff's amended motion 21 days after it's filed. That's the Bruce talking point. So 100% Bruce is.
I have
yes, ma'am.
a heavy dumbbell and I can't really lift it.
Hey, don't walk around with a dumbbell. It might, the end thing might fall off though. If it's not on here good, yeah. I know it's light, but if it drops on your foot or something, you know, I mean, it's heavy still, like for your size and stuff. But if anything, if like Sissy or somebody turned this and it comes apart, right, the weight might fall off. And even though these are small, these weigh about 2.5 pounds. Okay. Yeah. So if it smushed your foot, that would be very bad.
I can actually lift this.
Yeah, you can. You can curl it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I'm actually strong.
I know.
Because I actually do push-ups to be stronger.
You do push-ups, huh? Wow, man. That is amazing. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how strong you were. Well, I tightened it up. You can take it upstairs, but hey, listen to me. Hey. Don't leave it where anybody can trip over it or anything. You can take it in your room, all right, if you want to mess with it. All right, be careful carrying it. It'll roll. Close my door too, okay? Love you. I'm actually strong. I do push-ups. I flex. I love it. Oh, by the way, so the story, you know, mentioned it the other day. I was working on the whole. I read part of it the other day. I'm about 76% through the revision, and then you get into, you know, you get your publication check. You know, you check for any broken sentences or anything like that, you know, punctuation errors. But 76% through that final revision. Woo! I've been powering through that thing. I've been working. You know, it has been some That's good, though. It came out good. I don't know what I'll do with it at the end, but it's good. Actually, I asked, so I have gotten Dead Punk to do a cover for it, too, because I want a cover. You know, I want a picture on the front. So I contacted him for it. But anyway, okay, so here's Marla. Again, asked for 21 days, you know. Now, you notice, again, Marla, fucking A, Marla. You got the wrong case, you idiot. You blithering freaking idiot. Okay? You know they're all copying the same stuff, too, because they all have this same issue. You notice Doc 117, this is federal case 2. It's a typo. It's a fucking typo. They don't know. They don't even understand. She copied this from Lynette Preston. If I was going to cheat off anybody's homework, it wouldn't be Lynette Preston. But that's where it came from. That's Lynette's error. Remember her letter she wrote? I mean, this is, oh my God. It's hilarious. What's really crazy about it is a judge would never tolerate this from a lawyer, but he's tolerating it from these pro se jackasses. And he knows it. Like if Randy were to do anything like this stuff, he would destroy them. And they're not supposed to give you any, they're not supposed to treat you any differently. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you see the 117 right here. Notice here's Lynette's letter. She copied Lynette. I mean, no shit. So document 23, this was earlier on. Remember, we only have around 30 documents here, right? Document 23, notice here, document 117. The order's 17, by the way, not 117, you absolute buffoons. But thank you for proving that you're all working in a conspiracy. Holy shit. You're all communicating behind the scenes and it proves it. You just keep doing the same dumb shit over and over again, thinking that something's going to turn out differently. If you think this isn't meritorious, you keep building the case for them. Oh my God, you've been building it for years. Oh my God. It's craziness. We're not conspiring. We don't communicate. We just write the same fucking things in there. Remember, there are no 117 documents in this. There are 117 documents in the, in case I can't decide if that's a typo, by the way, or if they really made the mistake there because they're referring to document 17. But good job, Marla. Like I said, you copied Lynette Preston. You are such a fucking follower that you even, again, copied her work. Why would you do that? Do you really think Lynette knows what she's talking about in the court? Because if she did, I mean, think about it. They were like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed by the by the depot that we had. If she knew what she was talking about, do you think that would be embarrassing? No. She would have schooled Randy. I mean, if she was such a damn good lawyer, she would have destroyed Randy in that. But she didn't. Why? Because she has no idea what she's doing. Even with this, though, the judge is like blinders on. It's so ridiculous, man. My sincere apologies for being late as I was negotiating with a potential lawyer and set a motion. That sounds like another Lynette Preston excuse, doesn't it? Remember the remember the whole thing about the depot? She was like, I was talking to a lawyer. Sounds like the same thing. And sent a motion for continuance pro se before the default was entered, but it's currently in Jacksonville as I had to mail it in. What? Are you saying it's stuck in Jacksonville? And by the way, like I said, here's a free piece of advice again, Marla. The date doesn't matter when you mailed it. It's when they receive it. You know, you give it plenty of time. Or you end up doing some kind of, you call, you note that it's coming. Electronic communication can happen. You know, if you would have made contact with Randy, noting that you had received it. Again, I'm surprised they didn't have Bruce the Clown freaking help them. Oh my God. Remember, they don't polyflop. They don't multiply proceedings, right? I'm telling you, talk about Dumb and Dumber falling over each other. Exactly. Oh my God. To prevent this happening a second time, I sent this in a more rapid manner. What'd you do? Send it by horseback? Steamship? Morse code? What'd you do? Smoke signals? I'm just curious. What a stupid ass filing. Oh my God. You know what you could look up too? Here's an idea. If you wanted to look up the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, you know, you're looking for 55C, why not look up an example of where it's been utilized in another case? So you don't look like a bloody moron when you write it up. Just an idea. I mean, you know, just an idea. What do I know, though, right? I have no idea, right? But again, judge is like, all right, these idiots can have it. So here's and he explains that. He's like, we typically don't like to give default judgments. That's basically what the judge is saying here. So he writes in document 32, not 132, 32, Marla. Document 32. Defendant Marla Hughes was personally served by plaintiff's complaint March 24th, 2025. Accordingly, her responsive pleading was due in April the 14th. And of course, you know, they gave the court some anger and stuff, but hey, I guess some judges enjoy that. I don't know. The deadline passed, and defendant Hughes did not respond or otherwise appear in the case. Plaintiff then moved for entry of default, 21. Clerk entered it under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 55A again on the 17th. So, you know, you were talking about 3 days even after the fact, by the way, you know. So on April 23rd, 2025, defendant Hughes moved to set aside the default and requested, well, here's the problem. Look, you noted that it counts as Snowy Hurricane. It counts as the date of the date the mail went. Well, there's a problem with that, though. There's no mail there. So how would that count? They mailed their letter. You know, you see what I'm saying here? If it's not there, how can it count? It's still not there. As of their filing date, I wonder what their filing date was. I don't remember their exact filing date. I'd have to look. You know? But I think it was the day after. So they couldn't be bothered, though, to get it in a timely fashion. It wasn't there 3 days after the fact, even. All right. You know, when it was noted, and it wasn't there 4 days after the fact because of she's writing. So she can file something, though. She got something in. She can talk to Bruce and everyone else, and they can figure out how to get this filing mailed in. But they snail mailed something. Are you kidding me? They snail mailed it. If you had $500,000 to $700,000 on the line, would you go with snail mail? That's a good question for you, right? Would you go with snail mail, or would you try to electronically have something turned in? Now, as a pro se litigant, this will note, Marla does not have access to the electronic files. So she has to be informed of everything going on via mail, which is more cost, by the way. More cost for Jeremy Hale. So April 23rd, defendant Hughes moved to set aside the default and requested 21 days to file a responsive pleading to the amended complaint. That'll be Doc 31, right? Claims good cause. Claims good cause. Defendant Hughes moved to set aside the default and requested 21 days to file a responsive pleading to the amended complaint. That'll be Doc 31. Right? Claims good cause. Defendant Hughes moved to set aside the default and requested 21 days to file a responsive pleading to the amended complaint. That'll be Doc 31. Right? because she was negotiating with a potential attorney and mailed a motion for extension to respond before the default was entered, even though, like I said, still not arrived, right? Did you track a basic package? Is that what you're telling me too? Is that how you would know it's in Jacksonville? If you're going to add tracking to something, why wouldn't you send it expedited in some way? I mean, if you were going to snail mail something, why wouldn't you mail it some other way? Like, wouldn't you go out of your way to make sure that everything, it went fine? Again, they weren't going to respond at all. They made it very clear that they weren't. But then suddenly they did, right? So Defendant Hughes states that this motion was delayed and is currently in Jacksonville, Florida. She also states that she sent the motion to set aside default in a more rapid manner to avoid any more. What does that even mean? We're not speaking in hieroglyphs either. Just to say this, folks, too. If you file something in a court, don't make it vague. Make it very clear. You know? I mean, if you had a more rapid manner, I don't know. It blows my mind. Ugh. You know, like I said, instead of sending it like tracking, signature required, whatever, right? Instead of doing it that way, why not just send it if you're going to do that, like kick in a few other dollars and send it quickly, you know, don't send it media mail is what I'm saying. I would have gotten it there, but I sent it media mail. Wait, that takes 30 days to arrive up to. Lastly, she asserts that plaintiff's counsel does not object to setting aside the default. She says that the plaintiff's counsel does not object to setting aside the default. You know what's funny about that? If Randy is like, okay, that's good. You know, you would also, it's going to happen anyway, you know, but that's fascinating. That's something that all the ecosystem has left out. I want to beat you on your merits. Huh? Isn't that weird? A district court may set aside an entry of default for good cause. A district court may set aside an entry of default only if the defaulting party can provide a good reason for the district court to do so. Good reasons warrant case by case, including whether the default was culpable, willful, whether setting it aside would prejudice the adversary, whether the defaulting party presents a meritorious defense, whether there's a significant financial loss to the defaulting party. That is definitely whether the defaulting party acted promptly to correct the default. Noting, you know, here again, the case law, setting aside an entry of default where there was only minimal delay, no willfulness or prejudice shown, and the party asserted a potentially meritorious defense in the case. Defaults are generally disfavored, as there is a strong policy of determining cases on their merits. See, this is what you typically go with. You know, in the courts, you don't get to face anyone with default. So, again, they're not favored. So the court finds good cause for setting aside the entry of default against Defendant Hughes. Here, there's no evidence that her failure to file response was culpable or willful. Well, you know, it would have been interesting to be able to provide some of that. You could show it. Defendant Hughes asserts that she attempted to respond to the complaint prior to it, but mailing delays less than a week after entered an appearance to move to set aside the default. Thus, she acted promptly to, couldn't act promptly though and fucking keeping it from happening, right? Got to bilk some more money out of Jeremy Hales and his lawyers. Or his lawyer, rather, right? They don't multiply proceedings. They just cost the man more and more money. Additionally, there's no evidence that setting aside the entry of default would result in any prejudice to plaintiff. Defendant Hughes states the plaintiff's counsel doesn't object. Further, several of the defendants have not been served yet. They're dodging. This is something that needs to be brought up in the court, by the way, especially since 2Ls like to sit around and laugh about not being served. Oh, they can't find me. I thought, by the way, Zim, you remember the fit that Bruce threw about Zim? Remember that? You know, I can't get him served, and yet you have these jackasses out here that obviously they're communicating to one another. Obviously, Bruce, you're communicating with them. You can see it in what they're noting. It is not, I mean, again, it's a mirror. So obviously, you all are communicating. The plaintiff is in the process preparing an amended complaint. Although Defendant Hughes has not yet filed a responsive pleading in the case, any response to the original complaint will be quickly superseded, giving the forthcoming amended complaint. Finally, there is no indication that Defendant Hughes suffered a financial loss in conjunction with the default. These reasons. What? There's no indication that what? That's not how that's written. What? It would be a significant loss. If would they lose a lot of money? Yes. So shouldn't this be finally or default given blah blah lots of money in conjunction with default? Anyway, so order granted. Court sets aside that and the 21 days, with the same thing as brew, and also to plaintiff, since Hughes is pro se, he's not registered in the CM ECF system, pleadings have to be mailed to her. So let's see. Certificate of service shall reflect the date on which service, again with U.S. mail. So that was put in for that. I think that needs to be covered too. I think, again, we're covering a case. We cover all documentation that comes up, even if it's written by a bunch of morons. Okay, there is one other thing I want to cover today too. I think is really kind of funny and worth it. Actually, you know what? I'm wondering, let me bring this up. I'll note this. Let me see how long we've been live. Well, give me a minute here. I'll note this because I think this is kind of fascinating. The other day I wanted to do a Shara stream, like an entire Shara stream. And I might just add this to it tomorrow, because this goes with Shara too. And that way it'll be all 100% Shara, because Shara, interestingly enough, now this happened a few days back. So, when BBB was complaining about his protection and the question of unpaid invoices came up, well, Shara decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to ask them point blank. I'm going to take it to their channel and ask about where the heck is it? And oh my God, the ensuing insanity was just beautiful to look at. It's so mad. So freaking mad. I love it. I might just put this on for tomorrow though, because what I need to do tomorrow, I have all the stuff with Facebook. I'm noting we have all of this. Check this out. I've been wanting to cover the Shara stuff, and then I noticed all of this. Now I didn't realize how much there was. I thought it would just be like a footnote in a live stream, but with all that, that's a little bit more than, like just boom, read, done, right? So I was thinking about going through it. Now, Shara actually brought up some very interesting stuff in this, though, that I thought would be worth talking about, because Shara is noting things like, what about your plan to sue all these YouTubers, to get famous there? On top of that, are you still going to sue YouTube? Wait a minute. He was talking about suing YouTube itself? And you know what's fascinating? I mean, again, you see here her she brings up PR. She brings up Marla, threats, because again, they keep making threats. They're going to sue. They probably, sooner or later, they will drop a garbage lawsuit on people, because they've already done it twice. They've already dropped their garbage lawsuits on folks. Like I said, you can prove the connection with some of these nut jobs. And it will be very fascinating to not only tear their bullshit apart. Remember with Tennessee, with we would have a slap defense here. I would definitely have a slap defense, because that's a free speech law. Essentially, they're trying to chill my speech and not let me talk about things. And for their argument, when they're bringing up stuff and saying, you'll see notifications, by the way, they're the things either posted on mine or anything that I've looked at, so, but anyway, in Tennessee, slap defenses are the second strongest in the entire nation. And it's about the place where you're at, not the place where they're at, the place where you're at. So here, Bruce invited us to cover something. He continually pushed, while he was their lawyer, he even went as far as to send pictures and more. So it'll be, again, that would be the same as Lynette Preston. They also sent, again, they talked about the kid. They sent me pictures of the child to cover. But they've been making threats about how they're going to go after Shara and they're going to do this and that. And it is crazy how these people act. I mean, you got Shara here that they all loved her. They all loved her right until. And then they want to blowtorch your life. It's just craziness. So I think I'll actually cover all of that tomorrow. Let's cover super chats real quick. Then we'll end. It'll be a little faster today, but still, I want to do that today. Give me 1 second. My sinuses are killing me today. So that's part of it too. I also want to finish up some of my freaking story stuff I've been working on. All right. So again, Thomas, appreciate you. I did catch that one early. Allie, thanks for the 3 there. Today is Anzac Day. What the fuck is Anzac? What is that? Anzac? That sounds like something from Saved by the Bell. Oh, that's a Australian. Okay, yeah. Okay. I don't. That's the for those who fought during World War One. I will say, like we do with veterans here, thank you for your service. I have no idea. Like for holidays like that, I have no idea. So again, thank you for this. I was like, what is that? I don't know. Like, what does that mean? But I just looked it up. So thank you again, always, veterans. Thank you for service. I doubt there's any veteran, with World War One that's still around, but families are impacted for generations sometimes. So, and regardless, we can take that to any other veterans out there. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for your service. Kitty Kate, thanks for the 5 months there. Hey, from the Wisconsin, from the cheese factory of the U.S. Thank you for that, Kitty Kate. Appreciate that. Hey, Chris noted that as well, too. It is a day going down the sun. We will remember them. It's, it's fascinating to look from from country to country. Of things like we have our shared holidays, and we have holidays that sort of mirror one another, and then we have ones that no, you don't know. So appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know too. Actually, I didn't realize that. MaxLab, thanks for the 2. Hey Tug, hey MaxLab. By the way, as always, giving some love to Mr. MaxLab. Appreciate you, my friend. You know, always taking those lumps of messing around and finding actual documentation out there. Green Veggies, thanks for the 20 there. Hey Megan, give the washer a break. It needs a rest. Yeah, man. Who would have thought? You know, well, sometimes you just gotta get the old washer going. I love the jokes about the washer. I thought those were really funny. Cracks me up. LaWanda, by the way, I did think that was funny about the mouse. Mouse, you are gone. LaWanda also thanks for too. Where's Meg, that queen of speed reading? She had some stuff up today, so she is dealing with some personal items that came up today. So that's okay. I mean, it happens. we have that back and forth in all of our lives, right? Green Veggies, but I hate it for people. Again, maybe she'll talk about stuff, maybe not. I'm not sure. So I realize I'm a little vague in that too. Green Veggies, thanks for the fun. Where's your evil sister? I need her to be gone. Her evil sister, dude. It is funny, actually. The little one, like I said, last night, I heard them banging around. And I was like, what in the world is going on? You know? So I got up, and I mean, we were talking about in the middle of the night, late. They had decided to get together. They had planned when everyone was asleep that they were going to make cupcakes. And her older sister does know how to make cupcakes and stuff. She knows about the oven and all that. And I was like, are you kidding me? You know, so it wasn't you're not allowed to do things like that, but they waited until the middle of the night when nobody was there, because they were going to make cupcakes for themselves and I guess eat them all. It's like, what are you guys doing there? They had everything laid out. It was. You should have seen them like try to hide it. Like, we're not doing anything. So good. They're so funny when you catch them doing things. Becky, what's up, Becky? Thank you for the membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Thugs. Thank you for that, Becky. I appreciate it. Fallen Hero. What's up, Fallen Hero? Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for that gifted membership, brother. Appreciate it. Buck Naked. Thanks for the 5. They believe this is a motion worthy of Justice John Marshall. A writ from God. They actually, they think that the document that he filed at the very end, they think that one like just blew the doors off of everything. And it's so crazy because, again, like I was saying, that document there, it's not only bad because it makes all of these false claims, but it has the potential to be prejudicial. Anything that has the attention, you got to think about it this way. Typically with any other document, I could argue it, right? I could go in, I could argue the merits of it, I could shout it down or whatever, but you can't with that specific document. You had Bruce as a final parting shot try to litigate this entire thing. He put in other things that were going on. He even tried, no joke, I've looked at this before, but just to drill this home for people, he even tried to blame Jeremy Hales for the thumbnail case. Like, no joke. I mean, if you're like, how would you do that? That's their case, right? Well, he said the following with that. He said the plaintiff and his counsel have turned the withdrawal state court thumbnail case into a de facto lawsuit in the guise of post-voluntary dismissal motion for sanctions under Florida, blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, I forgot a damn thing. What am I doing here? What am I doing? I forgot something. Shit. That reminds me, I had a whole point for today. So this is the other thing. Man, what am I doing? Speaking of that case, this was the whole point of the damn stream, and I forgot it. That's how this day has been. So give me a second. Let me find it real fast. I had the wrong one there. So in case you have not been keeping up, sorry about that. Like, it's been this kind of day today. My mind is off in the weeds, but it's been that kind of day, folks. But you'll notice thumbnail case here, right? Yes, Stark, despite his medical complaints and everything else, he isn't off the hook yet. He's not gone anywhere. They just kick the can down the road yet again. You'll notice. And again, address does not matter because that is a courthouse, you know. But what does matter is right here. All they managed to do is delay yet again. But the bill comes due one day. That's the problem. They will have a trial about that. They will have a sanctions hearing. They just managed to kick it down the road a little ways. And, you know, the last time the judge actually asked for medical proof. You can't keep playing the dog ate my home, or I got to have cataracts again. I'm actually going to the hospital today. I mean, again, Stark lied about not being able to go to cases or to go to court, while also saying that he was in court and he couldn't be there when Lynette was going to be deposed. You can't have both. You can't not be able to go to court and go to court. You can only have one. So it's just kicking the can down the road. But I think that's funny. Like I said, that was the whole point in today, too. I just got sidetracked by all the Marla stupid, you know. Yeah, they've moved it now. This will be the third time. And remember, this was actually supposed to happen in February. They have managed to. This is the Bruce thing, isn't it, Bruce? You said that you remember how he bragged about delaying a case for 5 months? You remember that? That seems to be what's happening here too, doesn't it? There's yet another delay because the original hearing was in February. We're kicking it down to June now. It's nuts, isn't it? I mean, they've essentially, you know, remember it took about a month to get in to have your hearings, and then you had to delay and delay. Like I said, it's almost like another 5-month delay. Something else Bruce is attached to. You know, because one of the things that they take advantage of, and they have taken advantage of, is the goodwill of court. Courts don't typically look at you and say, hey, you're lying. After a while, you know, it becomes a problem, but they typically don't do that. But it's kind of fascinating there. I mean, we have one case that's frozen. You know, it's just sitting there frozen in mud. We have 2 cases that have been voluntarily dismissed. Actually, I take that back. We have 3 cases that have been voluntarily dismissed. So let's not forget the protective order, even though that happened earlier. So we have 3 cases that were voluntarily dismissed. 1 that's frozen. You know, we're looking at. I'm wondering again with the federal court one with the sanctions of Bruce. I'm wondering if they're waiting for another judge to say something about the federal case 1, where he tried to move to knock the judge off the case. Maybe they're waiting to say something about that, because otherwise, why the fuck have we not been able to get an answer for 3 weeks? 3 weeks, Judge. 3 weeks. Isn't that crazy? It's been that long since we had our sanction hearing. Like, that's insane, right? And Bruce is still out there. He's becoming emboldened. You know, for a little while, he's like, I'm afraid they're going to jail me, you know. But then he finds this ridiculous stuff. I mean, that's so improper. The stuff Bruce has been allowed to get away with now is fucking crazy. But I look at the behavior that's mentioned in the bar complaint, the whole improper billing thing about his behavior, and look how freaking insane that stuff was. And there's been other complaints, so no. But again, Stark here, he's still on the hook. The only reason they didn't have their hearing to begin with was the fact that he was like, oh, medical problems. I mean, they're also, every time they delay this stuff, every time they pull this, it costs Jeremy more money too, which just piles on. I mean, I wonder if they've thought about that, because they had a hearing set up, situated. We have all this communication that's happening, but with Stark pulling all this insane stuff, and it makes you wonder, more bills. We already have LMNOP supposed to be on the hook for bills in Ohio. Like I said, if you find out that that money was paid through any kind of fundraising, PayPal was involved, any of that stuff, that's a big no-no. That'll be a big problem. So if that ever gets brought up, that'd be a huge problem. But this is yet another example of potential sanctions aimed at somebody attached to that case. Isn't it weird? Isn't it crazy? But yeah, like you're right, Buck Naked. They do. They think some of this stuff is just, Willie, thanks for the 5. I wonder if other judges are following this case and shaking their heads. Who knows? Honestly, this case should have much more claim. I do think that, because it brings up, they've been fighting with this, talking about free speech, and when you look at it again, free speech does not allow you to go in and destroy another person's business, their reputation, calling them a PDF file and more. You can call them a liar, a thief, a charlatan, whatever, I mean, you call them certain things. Contacting a business, contacting a YouTube, a whatnot, an Olight, and more, that is beyond the pale. That kind of stuff. And again, having people that they bragged about it publicly. That's the crazy thing. Oh, going after the condos. Oh my God. Like all that stuff. It would be hard to prove some of this stuff. Except they discussed it and did it publicly. Like that's what has astounded me. Andre, thank you too. Appreciate it. Noted it then, but thank you again, my friend. Also, Frankie, thanks for I think I hear another. What's up, Shorty? What's that? What was that? Sounded like the old Budweiser. What's that?
Dad, I want to go water park one day.
A what?
Water park.
Water park day? Well, maybe later on. It's not time for going to the pool and all that stuff yet. That'll be later on.
Summer, because summer, like a water park for summer.
Yeah, it'll be soon.
Yeah, so
in the next couple
if
months.
there's a water park.
Well, we got the water thing, that y'all go to in the summertime.
What? Oh,
where Gigi and y'all went? Huh?
The frog pool?
Yeah, they have the frog pool and they have all that other stuff,
And there's a frog slide.
Yeah.
And there's a slide down. And Andy was there one day.
Yeah. But you get to do that stuff. You like doing that, right?
Yeah, and I fished my Coke.
What?
I fished my Coke.
What Coke?
The Coke that we got with the gummies, the Coke gummies.
Oh, from way back the other day?
Yeah, next time when we go back to that place.
Yeah.
I want different gummies because I always tried the Coke gummies 2 times.
Yeah.
This is not my first.
You talking about the Coke gummies? Yeah. Yeah, she got some little gummy bear. The gummy things that look like little Cokes.
And the bottle tastes like Coke because I like Coke.
They taste like Coke. Is that what it is?
The bottom. The bottom.
Yeah.
Like this.
Sounds like Tony Montana over here.
I finished my gummies and my Coke. I finished my gummies and my Coke.
It's like little Tony Montana.
I finished my gummy Cokes first and then I finished the Coke.
Can you say the world is mine?
The world is mine.
Well, that's a little Tony Montana. Can you say hello to my little friend?
Say hello to my little friend.
Little Scarface here. All right. Hey, come here. Give me a hug. I got to finish it. I'm almost done today. Come here. Give me a hug, though.
I can slowly say bye.
Yeah. Love you.
Love you too.
Can I have a kiss on my cheek right here? Mwah. There we go. Thank you. All right. Go upstairs for a little bit, though. Hey, you need to rest, though, if you're going to Gigi's tomorrow. You going to Gigi's? She might take y'all somewhere. You might get candy or gosh knows.
Maybe to the candy store?
Yeah, who knows? She's so funny. All right, so let's continue here. So, Frankie, thanks for the 20 there. Is it expected if LMNOP and JC get a lawyer on Fed 2 that they will also be on board for Fed 1? Not necessarily, no. You know, that's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours. I mean, okay, well, here's the thing. Depending on how it goes forward, you would think what would make sense is the cases being combined. You know, will it have? I don't know. But they have the ability. They're similar cases, right? You have something that's similar. You have the same judge. You have same parties. You're talking about typically combining cases. Now, in doing that, then yes, you would have them. If you were talking about cases that stayed separate, though, should be a totally different world. But if you were talking about that, then there would be no deal with it. And he only put up an advertisement for case 2. Interestingly, you know, that was another thing that I thought was kind of odd. He didn't do that for case 1. You know, he didn't talk about that at all. So he didn't even make that offer when it came to case 1. You know what I mean? He didn't say, hey, we should do that. But yeah. Oh, yeah, Puffs Plus. Indeed. Indeed. But, I mean, it's a good question. I appreciate it. I like y'all the questions and stuff we pull up. I like them. You know, Janice, thanks for the 20 there, too. I noted that before, but thank you again. Bug naked. Zach, thank you. Listening to the song, only 19 on here. I'm going to have to look, like, again, you know, I'm going to have to, like, do some more research on there. And prompts to everyone. With that, again, the only comparable I have with that is thanking veterans. And as always, thank you. MaxLab, thanks for the 2. Marla used to illegally fish on Jeremy Hill's property. She used to fish on it? I mean, I don't know. There's so much weird stuff. I did find, by the way, so I went back and I thought about checking this out. You know, the original video where Jeremy Hales is talking about the whole 2-inch pipe thing, the thing that creates this snowball. I went and pulled that up, it's kind of an interesting watch to go back and to see how all of this came together. I may actually go over that one day too. There's still a lot to go. There's a lot. James, thanks for the fun. I don't know about the fish thing, though. Like I said, I don't know a lot about these bit players. Like, they're just a bunch of rando weird people, you know, and I haven't kept up with them enough. So I never thought I'd need to. You know what I mean? Also, can somebody explain to me why the ecosystem has turned on Biscuit Boy? Did you know that? I don't know. I don't know if you knew this or not. The ecosystem has now turned on Biscuit Boy. So he's on the outs. I think he flagged a couple of the channels. He flagged one for sure, but he may have flagged another one. You know, there was discussion. Somebody was talking about this, saying he flagged one channel, and maybe he had also flagged 2L for using something of his too. And I thought that was fascinating. It's like, man, you know, they're eating each other over there. Isn't it so strange? I mean, you have these people that they are barely knit together as it is, and they have to continually have an enemy in order to do something like they're doing. They have to continually rage and hate. They have to. Like here, like I said, I'm just laughing. It's stupid. We have plenty of stuff to go back and look at. It's all attached to a case. It's fine. It's all case oriented. But for their thing to succeed, Jeremy Hales or someone else has to be not only a villain because of past behavior, but the way that they've monetized, he has to be a villain today doing something terrible, or somebody else does. They have to perpetually be under attack. And you notice that. I mean, it's this cycle. Like, Jeremy Hales, look what we videotaped today, baby. It's like, this is craziness. But sometimes they eat each other, too. They pick each other off. Again, and there's been a bunch of them. You look at the fractures. Again, I go, Storage Boy, I mean, I have no idea where he's sitting now, but he's been right on the outskirts, barely invited to the table as it is. Then you have Fat Boy, and Fat Boy is Stupid Dave. He's in bad place. Like he's pretty much been kicked to the corner. The only people he gets to play with anymore are either Storage Boy, or he gets to play with Paint Chips and Darth Touch. What fun playmates, right? So fun. So you have Ray, who he's in their end. You realize this too. This is fascinating. So unless you are the first channel in pole position, you notice like Storage Boy, Ray, all these people, they can barely get 1,000 views on something. And even the biggest one, they get about 3 or more, because I again think a third of their views come from people who are watching recording and just trying to watch the shit show, not supporting it. So, but Marla, mentioned that BBB asked Lance and Crook to excuse BBB from the federal court case. She never mentioned about what Ray, he lied. Well, they never they never quite include all of the details to something, do they? They never do that. Death's Angel, how are you doing, Death's Angel? Appreciate you as always. Thank you for 5 gifted memberships too. Love it. Thank you. Appreciate those. They're awesome. Andre, thanks for the 2 there. Talk about Dumb and Dumber falling each other. Yeah, they do. They just fall over each other. It's like somebody standing up and tripping over the other person over and over again. At first it's fun. Actually, I never get tired of it, to be honest. It's all been entertaining. I've enjoyed it. Snowy Hurricane noted the mail thing. Thank you. And like I said, their problem is this, though. Again, you notice Marla found a way to get in contact with the court real quick. Did you catch that? So Marla, who couldn't respond on time, couldn't get anything working on time, somehow in some way figured out how to get a mailing to the court right after, the day after they had been given default. The day after, suddenly, poof, epiphany, eyes open, scales fall to the side. Isn't that wild? Huh. Weird how that worked, huh? Yvonne, thanks for 5. Did you notice on Lynette's paperwork she left off her SSI? Yes. Yep. That's here's the thing. The claim of indigence, they get to screaming. Compared to Jeremy Hales, his income notice. Again, we don't know how much he makes at the end of the day. He, again, I don't talk about earnings. And it's not because, raking in the biggins or anything like that. What it is I think it's ugly to talk about when you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And if you're up, you don't make people that might be down, you don't make them feel like you're standing on their backs. My grandfather always made that point. We grew up, like I said, poor. He made do. He did good, but we grew up in Tennessee. Tennessee, poor place. He retired from many jobs. He worked out, made his money, but he drilled that into my mind. Never brag about money. If you have something, like I like to wear gold rings, right? Most of them, they either signify a success for me, or they've been a gift. They're not ooh, look at me, I got monies. That's gross. And Jeremy said the same thing. He doesn't want. So we don't really know. We found out about money because he has all these businesses, but we don't know what overhead looks like. I mean, comparably, you can make money and still have so much overhead that you make nothing. I've had plenty of times, like YouTube is, you make money, but with all the overhead and stuff, holy crap. I've had years where it wasn't good. On paper, you're like, yeah, I'm making, but no. When you consider everything that goes into cost, or computer replacement, shit like that is freaking insane. But anyway, yes, I did notice that. Thank you too. Shadows in my soda. I've been saying in my soda now, like I'm drinking something. By the way, she was talking about Coke. She calls anything. She thinks that certain types of juices and stuff are even Cokes. So if you hear her talking about getting a Coke or something, in the South anyway, a Coke typically, like if I say, hey, I'm going to get a Coke, I'm talking about some kind of soft drink. But with her, it's even further. It's just like every show she watches is YouTube. I saw this on YouTube. She'd be talking about watching the news, but it's still YouTube. That's the way she understands. It's fascinating stuff. But Shadows, thanks for the find there. I find it strange that the judge doesn't want to be known for sanctions or for devotes, unless it's Randy or Jeremy. Weird. Oh. It is. I have a very low opinion of Florida. I do, as far as judicial system, cops. I have a low opinion of Florida. Florida. It's like, look at what Hales has already had stacked against him. He had one of the most insane freaking orders I've ever seen when it came to the grudge judge. That was just nuts. Now, I mean, you have, again, Bruce. He acted like an absolute crazy person. He was doing that. I've never seen a lawyer. Well, I can't say I've never seen a lawyer act out. I've seen lawyers act out. Again, we had Laura Owens, the lawyer, acting out. But I've never seen the kind of stuff he was pulling. I've seen high pressure lawyers. I've seen people act, and do weird things tactically. I mean, you think about it this way. We have shows. If you did a show and you saw the behavior of Bruce in there, you would still say, man, this is crazy. This can't be real, right? His behavior would seem crazy on a television show. So, yeah, I agree. It's craziness. Buck Naked, thanks for the membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tug Thugs, Buck Naked. Appreciate you, my friend. Denise, thanks for the 10 there. None of them were going to respond until Jeremy showed the hundreds of thousands of dollars they're going to have to pay for a default judgment. They all went, oh, yeah, I better respond now. Well, they thought it was a joke, and again, like I said, you don't have to believe that the claims are meritorious. You can look at that and you can say that it's a garbage claim. It doesn't matter. You don't have to agree with that. But you have, again, I don't know some of the players in there. I don't know their connection to a certain level. I think there are certain people 100% that are attached to, but I don't know everybody in there. I'm entitled to my opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. What you aren't, though, is if you get sued, you aren't entitled to say, well, I think this is a garbage case, therefore I'm not going to give it my time and my attention. You don't get to play that game. Some people think you get to play that game, but you don't get to play that game. So bizarre. So bizarre that some people think otherwise. I say thanks for the 13 months. Still watching my favorite channel, ThATuMBRELLAgUY. Well, thank you. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you all being here. Like I said, Yes, Max, I forgot something. Yes, I did indeed. I know, my mind. It's been a day. It's been a day. I've also, like I said, I've been when I get in a kick where I'm writing something, I have trouble doing anything else. It's like it consumes my mind. I keep thinking about all the little details that are there, and I'm 70. I'm almost 80% done, so I'm rolling in. I'm very close to 80% done. I can feel the backstretch of this. I'm trying not to get in a hurry with it. I'm trying to do well. Man, I got involved in some stuff last night, though. But oh my God, I made such a mess out of one of the chapters. Oh, but I fixed it all. Oh, but it was so much work. But that's me up there. Follow for longer. You, sir, appreciate it. Well, thank you for the 4 months there and much longer. I appreciate it. Yeah, I again, I cover a case until I'm finished covering cases. I have to have everybody. And again, I mean nothing negative by any case. People pick up whatever you want. Karen Reed, for example, I tried to get interested in that. I couldn't. There are clicks in it. There's obviously tension in it if you wanted that, and there's you can have an opinion about this, that, or the other with it, but it doesn't call to me. I'm not saying that it's not important. That's a difference. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it just doesn't interest me. Like, this case is so crazy. It has my full attention. I can't imagine another case right now. I don't think I've ever really had that problem. It's so bizarre. Emma, thanks for the 2 there. I sent you an email about your avatar. Thank you. I took almost all the pictures, by the way, of items that I received. I was going to pull them all up tonight. I said I was, but there were a couple of the crocheted items that the kids had run off with. And I was they ran off with a kangaroo that had been crocheted and an oxalotl, just stuff like that. I was trying to get them back. If I can't, I can't. But I do hope people understand that too. But I'll check out that avatar. Let me see. Let me see what's emailed here. Give me a second. 1 minute. Scuba duck. Hey, that's a pretty good face mask, actually. I like that. I like the face mask. It does look good. I like that they put an umbrella. Let me pull that up. I like that they put an umbrella underwater like that. I do look at people's avatar stuff too. If you make something, I think they're funny. Look at this. This is funny. It's about the drowning in content. Look at that. That's pretty good. Look at that. The face mask. Swimming with the YouTube fishies, huh? That's pretty funny. I like it. Thank you for that. Yeah, that is funny. Jack's mom, thanks for the 2. Puffs Plus with lotion. Fun to get through allergy. I know, man. Ooh, allergy season is awful. Kids sound awful. It'll hit me sooner or later. I might lose my voice for a couple of days. So if that happens, we'll be short on a live stream for a couple of days. That does happen to me every now and then. Shifter Brains, thanks for the $5 super sticker there. Shifter Brains. Love your name. Always there. Terry, thanks for the 5. What exactly is a stay in the order? Fleas seem to think the judge is now understanding what there's. What? No. That's the stupidest thing there. The judge. Okay, if you're talking about, first of all, there have been a couple of things that have happened in the cases. All right. Number one, the default judgment, the judge made it clear. Typically, judges do not like to have something decided by default. They don't like that because, first of all, constitutionally, that it's a problem. It's a problem, especially if you're like, hey, I should be able to meet these claims. I mean, we are talking about a significant, like a life-destroying amount of money. So if you're going to hit it, and especially if somebody's filing the day after, that makes sense. That's what a judge wants. And it creates issues for appeal. Judges do not like having something reversed on appeal. It makes them look stupid. And enough of that, it causes them problems. So they don't like that. Now, as far as the other cases are concerned, that has been frozen. So the judge, 30 days that we've had with that. I mean, a lot of the stuff you're seeing, again, you can agree or disagree with the judge. I think some of the judge's decisions have been absolute garbage, to be honest. But ultimately, they still follow a regular court theme. And if the judge really was biased by something that Bruce wrote, if it ever is reflected in the decision, already, like I said, it's already set up where you have an error that is committed to the point that it's appealable. But if he ever reflects that, that's automatic. If there's an issue there, good. I mean, if they thought that they had a winnable case, a truly winnable case, then what they should have done is they should have, like with Bruce, everybody, they should have played it by the numbers instead of the whataboutism and bullshit. Because if they would have played it by the numbers and they won, they would eliminate any chance of it being appealed, falling in, starting all over again. Because that can happen, I think, personally, a lot of the stuff they've done just consumes time and money. It's just such a mess there. This question I'll answer in a second. But because, everything has to go a certain way with the courts. Jody, thanks for the 8. Marla, he got butthurt because Jeremy Hills stopped him fishing. So really, that's it. So Marla's entire hate campaign is based on fishing. Is that really what that's about? I mean, is it really that petty? If so, that's pretty crazy. I'm not saying these people aren't petty either, and I can't believe it. But I mean, that's really because I noticed that noted before. So is that really what it's based on? Oh, what a nut job. But Nikki, thanks for the 5. Even the lawyers on night court were accomplishing bubbles. That's funny. I like that. That's actually very funny. And yeah, it's probably true. Janice, thanks for the 10. Dealing with all these haters with limited IQ is like dealing with sovereign citizens who don't think the law applies to them. Stupid to the nth degree. Indeed. They continue to boggle me. They do. They continue to boggle me. I mean, you think about it with some of these folks, some of the stuff they have said and done too. I'm going to get their documented conversations that John Cook had, for example. The things they said were lies, by the way. Shara's like, hey, I've got this, by the way. No wonder they make threats about Shara. Like Shara was somebody they never thought would have the backbone to actually speak truth. And one of my favorite things I've seen there. Emma, thanks for the 5. I didn't make the avatar. I want to do something using a hoodie avatar. You said you could email me a clear pic. Is that, was that not you with the scuba toad? I didn't see anything where you mailed. It didn't come through. Emma, make sure, no, that's Jane. That's actually somebody. Maybe, oh, there's Emma. Oh, yeah, I see that. So that was somebody else. Okay, I thought that was you. I didn't look at who sent it. So, well, that's somebody else. Well, thank you, regardless. I appreciate that. That's so funny. That is funny. I get a lot of crazy stuff too, and I love it. I love avatars. I love it when people make things like that. They crack me up. So That was someone else that made that there. But regardless, it's still appreciated. Thank you. That's so funny. Miriam, thanks for the tea. Can Jeremy Hale send the judge proof that they aren't poor? Well, he could actually file something in the case about that. They could indeed file something, contesting the idea that they are indeed indigent. And I think we're to the point, again, that argument, when the judge has allowed that to color decisions, I actually think it needs to be done. And the reason I say that is because this judge, it could potentially have a biasing effect. And if it is based on a lie, they hammered and hammered and hammered that point home. So I think they're to the point where I don't think that Jeremy can afford to ignore it anymore. At one time I would have said, there's no point in doing that. That's why I say it that way. At one point I would have said, why would you do that? Why would you file? But now I'm at the point where I'm like, I think maybe he needs to. I mean, don't you? There, I sent those over, by the way. I didn't attach any words. I apologize. The way I copied and pasted them in, I just dropped them in there. So that's not to be rude or anything the way I did it. Let me see if I missed anything. See anything I missed? All right, let me make sure that, let me see if Mr. Wiznut is available today. I've not had there he is. I didn't have anything that came up with Shizzy. I didn't get any notifications on his channel today. So finally I got one. He's just starting out too. So that's actually pretty good. Let me send all of you over there. And again, have fun with it. 1 second. It's going to take me a minute. I got to get it set there. All right. So I'm sending you over to Shizzy. Like I said, I appreciate you folks. And tomorrow I'm planning on doing something. We will see how it works out though. And I will see you later.